If women look for the men to be a leader and to lead the family and to be the head of the family, but yet this leader, this head of the family, the one that's supposed to paint the vision and move things forward, has to seek permission from her for an expansion, that's problematic. Assalamu alaikum, peace. I am Coach Nazir.
And I'm his wife, Coach Fatimah, one of the two.
Indeed. Of course, we are two of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as two of the three authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. If you don't have your copy, get it now. With that being said, today's video, we're going to discuss something that we get, or Coach Fatimah and whatnot, women tend to talk about all the time. I know they've asked you about it on different coaching calls and different things like that. So let's get to it. What is it?
This, I'm sorry, I have to smile, and oftentimes I laugh at this one. It's, did Coach Nazir get my permission to marry her? Does my husband, he must get my permission to marry again. And if he doesn't, then it don't count. You know, and this is, although I joke, a very serious thing to hurl, say, believe that our husbands must get our permission to marry another wife. The destruction that this specific belief system can have behind those statements, or those different things that women can say to their husbands or hurl at their husbands, or I don't know, it becomes hurtful, because they'll ask me, well, did he get your permission to marry again, like he's my child? And I said, so if he gets my permission, should he go get his mother's permission, his daughter's permission, friends' permission, all these other people's permission, as a grown man? As a grown man, we're all adults, but as a grown man, how appropriate would it be for him to come to me and get my permission for him to create or marry again another wife? How appropriate is that? In no other arena of your life.
Well, I mean, you know, people are saying, they're responding, how appropriate this question need to do da. It's very appropriate. That's what they're saying. No, right?
Conversations, yes, absolutely. Having a discussion about it, trying to figure out what we're going to do, what he wants to do. Because I'm not marrying another wife. I don't practice that. However, it becomes inappropriate to say, you must get my permission as your wife, and then I'll give you the green light so that you may marry again. You don't need my permission for anything else but this, just so we're clear, is what I hear when people ask me that. This question has been asked to me specifically, so I wanted to address it publicly, and I've done it more than one time, but I don't know if I've done it with Coach Nyla right beside me, but I thought it was important, and he already knows that we talk about it in our book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. And where can they get that? Because I'm like, where can I get my book?
Let's talk polygamy.com.
Yes.
But I want to chime in here, though, too, because there's a big difference in having discussions and having conversations about it. Those are best practices. All right, now getting permission. What's important about that thought is it shows how ingrained and socially conditioned men have become to the point of being weak.
Yep.
And if women look for the men to be a leader and to lead the family and to be the head of the family, but yet this leader, this head of the family, the one that's supposed to paint the vision and move things forward, has to seek permission from her for an expansion, that's problematic. That undercuts them. That's something that is commonplace in thoughts, because men have become so weak and so pacified. all right, where you want to appease so much so and looking for this type of stuff and it makes you weak. It's not something, one, that's an attractive quality. However, having conversations about it, letting you know where you stand, being open about it, starting a dialogue and what have you, all of these things are important.
Right.
But me coming to seek permission is not something that is a masculine trait to begin with.
That's right.
All right, and that's not how it was demonstrated by the Prophet ﷺ either. Now, on the flip side, of course, the conversations are important. You should be proactive instead of reactive. You should demonstrate some courage with it because we're in such a society that not only is it needed, all right, not only is it the moral and honorable way to go about expanding a family and so on, but that speaks to you and your manhood. All right. So I could confidently say, Miss Wife who thinks that, oh, my husband don't want nobody else, that he does.
I agree with that.
All right, that does, because we're polygamous by nature. Now, if it's advantageous for him to tell you that or allow you to believe whatever you want to believe, that's to be determined. All right, now whether or not he wants to go and actively participate, feel like maybe not. And maybe the circumstances and his personal situation, whether it be age or funds or, headache. I've gotten that too. Men love women. They like, look, I got a wife that's such a doggone headache, I can't imagine having two. But that doesn't mean there's more than one wife if that wife was not a headache. All right, so let's not mistake that, because we get that all the time. My husband only want one. He told me it. Yeah, of course he told you that, because that's the thing you're supposed to tell her, especially when you can't do it and you're not qualified to be doing it. But being able to have these conversations, understand how your man is set up to begin with, is very important, because now what we're talking about is leadership versus not. So the question also that comes to me sometime is, well, how do you handle decisions? Is it a 50-50 thing? So, well, now in some things, it can be 50-50. You can advise, can have input on something like maybe it's what's for dinner, and my vote count with her vote. Or maybe not, because I'm not making the dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to larger decisions, any wise man is going to seek the counsel of his family, his insiders, inside circle, especially his wife, right? Mm-hmm. If she's on the same page and has supporting his vision, then that's important to know. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, just like the CEO of a company, you still have to make that decision as the leader, as that head.
Right.
So seeking the permission is something totally different than consulting, speaking with, getting feedback, and then ultimately making a decision for or against whatever somebody else may say, because you still have to decide what's the best action moving forward, even if someone else doesn't think it's the best.
Oh, I like that Coach Nazir said that he would go out of town. So there's the women in this family know this is a rule. And one time I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to go to Chicago. And he was on the other side of the world. And I was like, he gonna say no. He ain't going. And I asked, and he was like, nope, I'm out of the country. Now, I said, well, it's close to where we live. However, it's far enough. And he couldn't get to me. And people would say, well, I just would have went. I said, no. That's not how I operate. I'm entrusted. I'm a trust. So he's responsible for my safety. And he can't do his job and protect me if he doesn't know where I am. And it's not my job to undermine him while he's on the other side of the world, because that's how you operate. Now, in many cases, people say, well, you two are the monster. You all started we didn't start polygyny. We wrote books and did trainings and we coached about it. However, they get mad and say, you're the monster and you're the one leading the charge on this. And the minute it's going to rub off on them. And then they get surprised when we say, okay, we're the monster, but don't get mad if you're the clown on our side of the story. Because we didn't create it. We're just trying to help everyone see a different perspective. So if he's responsible for my safety and I'm undermining that, then that's a problem in the marriage. So I can't let somebody outside of the marriage dictate to me that I should be running where I go and when I come and all this stuff. And he needs to just bow down to that. That's an issue. And you spoke about things being unattractive. I would have found it. Now I'm answering this for myself and for other people that need clarity. I would have found it incredibly unattractive had he, if we could go back in time, came to me and said, I need your permission to marry again. I can't even get it out with a straight face because I'm not built like that. Having a discussion, yes, but coming to me and I'm a woman, I didn't get married to a man for him to act like a woman. That's not what I like. That's not what's attractive to me. And he didn't get married to me so that I sit up and act like a man.
At all.
At all. See? But then when it comes to polygyny, I want you to be the woman and I want you to come to me and get all this permission and let me treat you like a child, but act like a man in all these other areas when I want you to do that. No, how can a man sit with that and be like, oh, I'm cool with that?
And it's not like men don't understand the concerns. You understand the concerns, you have a family, you've grown that and all that kind of stuff. There's emotions and everything that are involved. We're just talking about the crux of dealing with whether or not there's permission and who's leading the family. That doesn't mean you be a tyrant. You don't take concern, hence the consulting and speaking with and having discussions. But if you're not willing to have discussions or willing to listen, don't be surprised that maybe some decisions are made because the person felt this was the best route to go at the time. Even though, again, we don't suggest doing it that route. We suggest what best practices are. Being a mature adult, being able to have a conversation, actively listen, controlling your emotions, discuss some plans and visions, some pros, some cons, and make a decision. All right. So whether that is for or against, practicing polygyny, you can at least do that or should be able to do that as an adult who reached the age of discernment. That's my 2 cents with it.
And it's still the man's choice, even if you say, well, I don't feel like you ready. So if I said to you, you're not ready yet. Now I could say that. That doesn't mean he has to believe that. He could still make the choice to practice polygyny. So that's another, that they could get a little...
And not be ready in practice.
And not be ready.
And, again, that's, we heavily against that. A lot of men, just because, you want and desire to practice it doesn't mean that you're qualified to do so. But we go into more details, of course, in the book and some of our different trainings. So there are measurables that are relatively simple and easy to get. And then there are the intangibles. So all of these things matter, but that's a topic of another video and one of the chapters in the book.
We're going to wrap it up. And we do discuss the book in our OPR campus. In our book club that we hold on Sundays. So we go a little bit deeper there, and you guys can go there at oprcampus.com for details on that. And if you don't have your book yet, visit us at letstalkpolygamy.com and order your book.
All right, y'all. Coach Nazir, person who help people get their shift together. With that being said, be outstanding. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
Peace.